All right, let's talk about the taste of bitter.
The taste of bitter? if you can enjoy the taste of bitter at all?
Yeah, is there value to things being bitter?
Yeah, it's there. I think I think when you can properly combine bitter tastes with other flavors, it works pretty good. And some people, fuck it. Some people like bitter shit. Just they're weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm becoming weird is like why I bring it up.
I mean, we're all weird. You're just figuring out exactly how weird you are.
Yeah, it's weird not to be weird. But coffee's the easiest example, right? Coffee's went across the nation. Some people drink like a milkshake, but that's a lot of people get. I don't know. It's something about the sipping, the slow intake with the strong kick.
Just something gets it for you.
Yeah, it brings the sensation I've been trying to describe.
Hell yeah.
But Scotch is similar to that too, or just hard liquor that you sip.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Fuck it. Some people really like that stuff. So for me, I'm not. I don't know. I'm not. When it comes to bitter, the only bitter I can really enjoy is whiskey, but it's not really bitter. Some are, but
it demands the attention of the mind, right? It pulls you to the reception of the sensation.
Okay, yeah.
Joe, you sound like a 13-year-old teenage girl who's cutting herself.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, I guess you could be applied there. But coffee's better, dude. The coffee.
It's just I just want to feel. That's what you sound like.
Feeling's great, dude. You don't like to feel? I guess I just like feeling things.
Maybe there is a small aspect of that in there. You need that sensory shock to help. It makes you feel good because it's such a shock to the senses.
But you just mix that up within the rest, Well, I didn't like coffee until I stopped expecting it to taste good, and it was
what?
No, seriously, that's how I describe it. I was against coffee for the first 25 years of my life. It's a recent thing the last 5 years.
Fair. I think coffee's great.
Yeah, but I don't put anything in it. I just drink it black.
Oh, okay. No, that's fair. Yeah, I mix mine up. I make it nice and mocha colored.
Some coffee is really good. It can be drink black, but sometimes it's just too bitter. You gotta spice it up. Just dull down the bitterness is what a dressing is.
Right. I'm not reaching for the most bitter coffee. I kind of just I wouldn't say my taste hasn't even developed that much, so it's anything really works for me.
I think you figured out what people appreciate, and then now you understand what people are toning down when they put shit in their coffee.
Exactly. Yeah, and so it's the ability of receiving the appeal from that is what I feel I've gained. I've climbed the curve of the acquired taste, and then that has helped me realize that most interests are acquired tastes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And just coffee and alcohol are the very easy ones to highlight, but I think music is a big part of that too. I think most things are, if you can find the appeal, the what is keeping people interested. I think that when you don't like something, you're just not able to find that.
That's fair, yeah. Or you can't, for you, the whatever thing people derive pleasure from for you is displeasure. And you can't get that aspect of it because it is displeasure for you.
Yeah.
So tell me, what appeal am I missing when I don't like the live action Avatar movie? What appeal am I missing?
No, you're not missing it. You're with the consensus on that one. It's the people who do like it. We need to figure out what the fuck they see in it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. What am I missing? Tell me what am I supposed to be liking?
You're missing the ignorance. You're missing the ignorance onto of the previous experience of Avatar. Because you've seen the cartoon.
No. People who haven't even seen the cartoon don't even like it.
That's part of it. Maybe not all of it. Yeah, I've never seen the movie, but I just know its reputation.
It's a bad movie. It's just not great. Fuck. What, 5 earthbenders to move a single goddamn rock? And not even fast, it floated through the air? Are you kidding me?
But okay, so the people that actually they have the greatest skill because they've been able to find the appeal in in the shallowest of.
I think they have the greatest skill because they don't exist, but yet they do. They're not real, and yet they are.
Yeah, so like it's kind of like ignorance is bliss. It's like they're missing the obvious details of just cinematography blunders, right? Like the ignorance is providing advantage to them, and then the same time that they spend watching the movie that you do, they've gotten a lot more out of it. It's a skill.
Yeah, or they've enjoyed the experience due to their ignorance.
Yeah. Their ignorance is reaping a reward. Ignorance is bliss.
You're saying there are people who are dumb enough to like it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
In more words.
I would agree with you
Right.
on that one.
Well, wonder isn't... When you experience wonder, it's enjoyable. Wonder being things that you don't necessarily understand.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's why they make Transformers movies. You turn off your brain and chew popcorn and look at the big explosions on the screen.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, dude, you're missing out, bro. You got yourself too smart, and it's your fault.
Right? It's like the people, people who read the books versus people who watch the movies. It's like, yeah, but, like, there's an experience in the books.
That's what growing up is, though. Like, when you're a kid, because you're so ignorant, like, there's just the idea that everything is, like, it's not fucked up, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? You just brought up something that I thought that I had the other day. I don't think I could have enjoyed the Harry Potter movies as much as I had if I had read the books first, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. If you'd read the books and then watch the movies, it's only, like, the 7th movie, or the last movie, which is fucking good. The rest are all, painful.
Yeah, no, like, I couldn't get to the first one. Like, I was like, all right, babe, let's, like, watch them now after we, like, listened to the 7 of them.
Yeah, you fucked up.
And we, like, didn't get halfway through the first one.
Yeah, no, see, you did it backwards because, listen, if you watch it first, you enjoy it, right? And then you read the book, and you're, like, still high on that enjoyment, and you kind of, like, want more.
Yeah.
And then you get, like, a totally different perspective that's, like, really in-depth. You're already invested in the lore, and it, like, brings a lot out of it. So those same actions, the order in which you do it, definitely determines the value you can, like, get out of it.
Oh, yeah, no. That's why I almost want to, like, watch movies before I read the books.
Yeah, people that read books just because a movie's coming out, they are fucking up.
Yeah, no, it gives you an ability to look at someone else's brainchild of what they went through when they read it, and then you can go and do it for yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, going back to the movies, the 4th movie is just, I want to, like, bring that up, because you don't even see the Quidditch World Cup. They skip it.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. The whole thing is just gone. It's just gone.
So, sorry, I had to. It's emotionally draining for me to know that that's a thing.
Oh, yeah, no, and you know which character gets, like, the worst rap in the movies?
Luna Lovegood?
No, they do her pretty good in the movie. They do her justice. They don't do Ginny justice in the movies. They don't make Ginny Weasley as cool of a character as she is in the books as they do in the movies, you know?
That's fair, yeah. Because in the book, she's more, by, like, book 3 or 4, she's more of a badass.
Yeah, she does things. Does things in Dumbledore's army, and she cursed.
Yeah, Dumbledore's army is dope.
She's like a full-blown character, you know? You, like, understand why Harry picks her over Hermione. Because, like, the whole time, like, I watch, like, the movies, it's just like, why is he banging Ron's little sister? Like, that's just kind of random out of nowhere for me, you know? You know, it's like, why not Hermione is, like, the obvious choice when you watch the movies, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely build that as, like, the love interest and then they make it the, like, what is it, when Ron is seeing the visions of the Dementors and he sees Hermione and Harry kiss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah.
And it almost feels like it was built up for that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the books, it was kind of ambiguous on who the fuck Harry was gonna, like, get with.
Yeah, it sounds like she decided, like, halfway through, like, all right, well, there has to be some love interests. They're all 17, 18, like.
it started like with like Hermione. Oh, Hermione's the girl I know, maybe, you know. But then it was like, oh, Cho Chang exists.
Oh yeah, that blunder.
And oh, Ginny, you're a thing. You're an actual person now. You're not taken over by Voldemort anymore. Holy shit.
Oh, dude, when listening to that book, man, like the way he thinks about Ginny, you're like, woo, this book is getting hot all of a sudden out of nowhere. I mean, it just keeps going. Like a sentence of like, woo, there it was. Teenage angst right there, encapsulated in a sentence.
It's funny. Oh, I wanted to say that the Harry Potter Quidditch games, they gave me the same idea as like Pokemon battles in the show. They were just always interrupted by something fucking stupid. Just like there's like they like in the books and movies, there's like 1 or 2 Quidditch games a year they actually like reference or like actually show out, and so there's always something stupid happening during them, like that totally takes it away from the game.
Yeah. It's like the last 10 years we've been able to play all 50 or all like 10 games and with no interruptions and everything. But these 4 years, fuck it. Yeah. Like
Team Rocket always shows up.
Yeah, we can only get 3 of them out. Like I don't know.
It's been enjoyable listening to audiobooks. I'm listening to Game of Thrones right now.
Dude, I gotta pedal Terry Pratchett. He's fucking good. He's hilarious.
Who?
Great writer. Terry Pratchett in the Discworld series, for the most part.
I've never heard of Discworld.
So Discworld is a flat planet held on the backs of 4 giant elephants who are on the back of Anuk, the great sea turtle who swims through the ocean, or swims through the sea, the universe, and he alone knows where the universe is headed. He originally started the entire series as kind of almost satirical against authors trying to make works such as like J.R.R. Tolkien and Narnia, and just the influx of that sort of media and fantasy coming about. He creates the Discworld series, where there's wizards and there's gnomes and elves. There's magic. There's gods. There's all that. It's all there, but it's hilariously and almost satirically written against their own selves. Like the wizards don't have to wear. People will see a wizard and be like, "Oh, you don't have a. Where's your hat?" It's like, well, it's not compulsory. It's not compulsory. You don't have to wear a hat to be a wizard. But yet, if you look at all the fantasy stuff coming out of that time, oh, you're a wizard. Gandalf has a fucking hat. All the wizards have hats and majestic robes, and that's kind of a joke that goes on with the wizards in Discworld. And one of the books I just finished, it's the 4th book in the series, but it's a really good book to jump in on. It's called Mort, and Death is an anthropomorphic character. He's he's bones, and he's got a scythe and a sword. He likes to use the sword, but Death needs an assistant. He just does. So he goes and finds this kid named Mort, and Mort gets to be his assistant. And as Mort spends more time in Death's realm, trying to, learn and apprentice from Death, he becomes more of Death, and Death begins to get human-like qualities. And so you actually get a large chapter or a large section of the book where you're essentially witnessing Death go through an existential crisis of being Death. He's drunk and he's like, nobody likes me. They all hate me. They only ever see me at the end. Nobody likes me. And it's just watching Death go through this existential crisis almost of his own existence is hilarious.
Damn.
And those are just some of the themes and topics that's just Discworld. This is just
how many books in the series?
I think there's like 41.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go. That'll keep you busy.
Yeah. I've gotten through, I think, 3 of them now. He's also got other books that aren't part of Discworld, like Good Omens, which has an Amazon Prime series. And it's about the end of the world. The Judgment Day is coming. Angels are real. God's a thing. Lucifer, Satan, all that. It's all, it's all real. And the end of the world is here. It's coming. Here's his story. And, it all ended. Here you go. Here's the last 11 years of the world. It ended. It was, divine planning.
That's wild. When are you going to write your book, Obed? You going to write one? What story are you going to tell?
The first thing what's interesting is like the whole the turtles swimming in the ocean. Like there are just so many like stories of men going out into the wilderness or into the unknown, into some sort of journey to discover and to come back with a revivifying force. So like you see like lots of images of like going out into water, or going out into the wilderness, or going out into a jungle, or going into a deep cave,
Or going into the Sublime.
huh?
Going into the Sublime almost.
No, it's more about going out into the world and confronting all the chaos and all the infinite potential, and taking it and conquering it and turning it into something that you can use for yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like going out into the world and actually becoming something. And
In returning with the gift.
And sorry, just the adjective definition of sublime that I know of it as is of such excellence, grandeur, or beauty as to inspire great admiration or awe, such as the ocean or a grand forest. To journey into the sublime in the sense of an adjective, not as a verb.
Okay. I understand what you are saying. But yeah, exactly. A journey into the great tussle with life. That's why, like, you have Moby Dick, guy going out and out in the oceans. You have, the Odyssey, the great,
Mm-hmm.
captain. It's Tarzan, man in the jungle. You have so many, I can name a billion, Frodo leaving the Shire, going into the ancient forest. It's all about leaving the quaint, delicate place of where you are right now, of whoever you currently are, whatever the word would be your ego, whatever pins you down to who you are right now, what you perceive you can and cannot do, what you dislike and don't dislike, whatever that is. Moving on to the next thing. Those are the images, where you are is the Garden of Eden, and where you're going is, hell. Into isolation, into the desert, into the wild, into the ocean, into, the jungle.
Into the new environment where you have to inherit skills to become functional there, and overcoming their, like, specific trials, and then, like, returning those skills and, like, increasing your palette of, opportunistic improvements to the current situation.
Yeah, like turning the wild into something useful, going out into the world and making use of it, turn it into a new Garden of Eden for you to leave again, and to keep doing it over and over and over again. That's the image is meant to be scary. It's meant to be daunting, because I like this thought that, like, if self-actualization and self-improvement were easy, everyone would be doing it,
Yeah. Yeah, if it was just easy to look at your stats, essentially, and just, I need to assign more points in this, everyone would do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, like, it is the snake, the serpent, that gets you to leave the Garden of Eden. That's why you have to slay the dragon, It's a big, scary thing. Like, just in those first sentences you said about, like, the fucking turtle carrying the world, like, through the ocean. Like, yeah, it's exactly...
No, through the universe.
Say it again?
So he swims through the universe. I accidentally said ocean, but no, he swims through the universe, and he alone knows where it's headed.
Well, but he's still swimming, like,
Yeah.
Does he talk?
Is he what?
Does he talk?
Does he talk?
I think he talks to the gods and to death and to one magician he spoke to, but that's it.
Or so he convinced the others. Oh yeah, that turtle talks to me. He talks to me, all right.
I mean, there's a lot going on in Discworld. Most people in the Discworld don't even know or care about the turtle.
Sounds like right now we don't care about the turtle. Who knows where the fuck this piece of rock is floating to? Like, we're not worried about that.
Or even going back to that, one of the things I really liked in Mort, whenever Death goes to take somebody, it's their time. He doesn't show up for everybody; he just shows up on some. What happens after death is exactly what you think happens. So, if you believe you are to go face the gods for judgment, you go your spirit goes and faces the gods for judgment. If you believe you are to be reincarnated, you get to be reincarnated. If you believe you're going to be spending eternity in a dark, in a purgatory all alone, that's what happens to you.
Oh wow.
Everyone gets what they believe death is at the end.
They create their afterlife.
Yes, they essentially create their own afterlife.
Sweet.
And one of the characters believed, she was going to go be a concubine for the gods. That's what she went and did. Her spirit went to go be a concubine for the gods.
Nice.
Yeah. And there was another dude, an abbot. He only remembers his reincarnations when he's dead. And he's like, oh shit, this is like, he's like, yeah, this is because Mort is going to get, this is like one of his first reapings. And he's like, oh, okay, you're a new guy. You're not the regular guy. He's like, where's the dude with the bones? He's like, I'm his assistant. You get me today. He's like, oh, fine. This is like my 55th or 56th time doing this anyways. Just drop me off over at this town. I should be getting conceived right about now anyways. And he does. He just jumps off the flying horse and over the middle, his spirit, of course, jumps off the flying horse over the middle of a town, and he gets reincarnated.
That's cool.
Yeah. So for me, I'm just like, fuck it. I want to adopt that thinking because, no one else knows. I'm just going to believe exactly what I want to believe happens after death. Easy and done.
But everyone shares the same reality in life.
No. Well, wait. Sorry, one more time.
Everyone shares the same. You can't create. You don't have that type of power while you're living to create the circumstance. Like, what if you believe that everybody gets, that everyone goes to a magical land and no one gets reincarnated?
Well, no. I'm adopting the whatever you believe happens to you after death is what happens to you.
To you, okay, but not to what you believe would happen to everyone else.
No. Yeah, if I want to believe that I get to meet everyone in the afterlife, then that's what happens. But
okay, so the people can exist in the afterlife, but
because we're talking at this point about spiritual bullshit, and that can exist in 15 different places at once. Because why not?
Okay, because why not? But those aren't extended to the living world.
Right.
Yeah, if we're making stuff up, why not make it all just real?
Yeah.
And all possible. Biggest thing I'd like to say of how biodiversity is that is the biggest concern when it comes to GMOs and not the actual, chemical effects on the human anatomy.
The surrounding impacts are unknown and untested. They're just that's the concern, is that we're not aware of the impacts.
Correct. The question at hand is too complex.
Yeah.
And we don't have the means to answer those questions. We don't know what every bug is doing. We don't know what every bird is doing.
Right. Yeah, but that same problem arises when we attempt to do anything. But GMOs is just something we're doing on a large scale.
We can do work to reduce risk and to have some predictability, but when it comes to complex issues, it comes down to having the right people being able to have the conversations. Because when you have multiple systems, with multiple people that require specialization to even understand what's going on, typically the conversation going back and forth is too difficult to have.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like too many cooks in the kitchen.
Because it almost seems necessary to have that many cooks in the kitchen, but the problem is that they have different jargon. They have different terminology, and that makes communication difficult, and it slows the process. Do
you think that's our main problem with? Because I would say that there's work being done to assess risk right now. Just I guess I'm under the impression that there's not enough. Do you think the multidisciplinary piece being the problem? Do you think that's the main problem is the communication between those?
Oh, I just it's something to note, but I do think that the impact is potentially detrimental because we've seen impacts of systems. We've seen how the unpredictability of it scares us. We don't know where it's going to hit.
I mean, I think bees is what we need to be worried about.
I don't know if there's really much more to say about biodiversity other than it's a really complex issue. And to really draw that out is to really explain why biodiversity would require to explain what complexity is,
Yeah, I mean, just basic level, we all probably understand that biodiversity, the larger pool of species, and I guess the larger pool of diversity in DNA specifically, is what allows like the planet to operate in more complex of ways, and that the planet operating in such a complex way is kind of what provides the stability.
Yeah, correct. Because if we were all like one thing, we're much more susceptible to disease.
Right. And so like from that I find peace among like the chaos has brought a balance almost. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, is chaos the right word? But it's just like the fact that everything all so much is going on, it's bringing balance and resilience to the balance being interrupted.
There are states of equilibrium that exist for stabilized periods, but they're never enduring and they're never always lasting. Things are always either, there are valleys and peaks that prevent things from changing,
The longer the time an environment remains the same, like layers upon layers of, as niches become like being able to be used, as more of the resources are being able to use more efficiently, and food chain like develops, like layers and layers of resilience get added to like the balance of their stability of like the current situation.
It increases the state of equilibrium over time. But the thing is like when you alter that drastically in one way, it shifts from one thing to another thing. And so you can set up these models and you can understand what shifts will make what, but to understand what decisions you make will lead to those shifts is the difficult part, because it's a complex system that you're interacting with, because there are just many complicated things, and the nature of the issue at hand makes it complex.
Yeah, I agree.
Vicktor-san,
What?
What do you have any?
I don't know. I feel kind of lost here. I feel like I don't have a whole lot.
What does it sound like we're talking about?
Just general biodiversity, which I will also agree that's a good thing. Like, to say what you said again, if everyone had a very same gene pattern, or we were all essentially quote unquote the same, one single disease could come through and wreck everything.
Right. And just take that idea and scale it all to like all species. And
then I think going off what Joe said, like just any population that sustains itself for long enough will become biodiverse just because of the environment around them. They'll essentially split themselves. The example being like ants. You get an ant colony that gets so big, they eventually, a group splinters off and they go become their own thing.
Right. And so, like, imagine 1,000 people just getting dropped on an island on a different planet, right? So, but for some reason they can live, right? And there's like one obvious food source. And so, obviously, people in that situation learn how to like work with that food source very well. But once like that kind of domain has been refined so much, it's now sometimes can become less amount of work to generate a high value if you instead learn how to refine how we handle like a different resource that might be not as common, but that kind of comes after they've like learned to do this other resource really well. And the more time you allow, the smaller pockets of the variability will be able to be like extracted for their value.
It's like determining if it's worth even taking on when you have this much easier streamlined like resource available.
Right.
Like why would we bother to learn how to process grain when we're eating watermelons?
Yeah, but 500 people are already preparing watermelons, and there's not really, and we've gotten good at it, so there's just like you have additional value to give society, like in the form of like I can complete some tasks for the betterment of everyone, but there's not much value I can bring in being a watermelon preparer, because like all of them already do that. Oh, but I can go and like grow some carrots over here. There's only 3 farmers doing that. I can go and add my value there, and over time we get good at doing carrots too, and then people move on to other things, and we get good at doing that too. And that's what's creating the resilience and the resilience of the current state of things. Is more of the niches that are being like exploited, not exploited, but like utilized.
The more and more and more niches that we have available to exploit, the better.
Right. So like, say in a pond, there's like there's several different food sources for frogs, and there's over time a bunch of different species of frogs have developed to take advantage of like that certain different resources that what drew the frogs there in the first place. And so now you have all these frogs, living off of different things. And so if a frog goes like, if one resource is no longer available, maybe the primary resource that drew the frogs there is no longer available. So in that frog disappears, and that will have impacts on the food chain, right? But because there's other frogs, the animals that eat the frogs aren't going to be as impacted on that one frog going on into extinction. And the balance in the ecosystem will like remain, because they built that resilience on exploiting the other potential avenues that frogs could exist. So when one frog went out, it didn't just take everything out of balance.
It allows what's the resilience to a system whenever there has been like a blow to it, right. Whenever there is
something that would cause a like runaway effect, right?
Correct.
So if all the frogs went away, then like everything that ate the frog would go away, and that would affect would have increased, like it'll just be a runaway effect that would compound and then cause like a drastic change in the state of things in that environment.
So now, like, just kind of going back full circle, the effect, the idea is here's the big scary thought when it comes to GMOs. We don't know what it's going to be like introducing this new strain of DNA into the competition amongst other plants. Like, we don't know what it's going to be like to have these super plants that can survive super bugs when all these other wild plants can't. Mm-hmm. And we just don't know what that will do to the world. Like, what happens when all the other plants in the world start becoming super plants? I mean, all the other bugs are going to become super bugs. But it may not happen at a proportional rate. Maybe some bugs die faster than other bugs, and some birds die. You know what I mean? It's going to be shifts in ecosystems at a complex rate. You know, it's undeterminable because we don't have cameras on all the bugs, on all the springtails and all the robins and all the sparrows. Like, it's the nature of the question is complex.
Yeah.
So like that's what the big scare of GMOs is like we don't know what this will do to the competition amongst in evolution terms, over time.
Yeah, but we've been doing GMOs since we've been doing agriculture. That's just granted we're doing it at a scientific level now. So yeah, I see where like we're physically going in there with like CRISPR and changing the actual DNA of a thing.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, we've definitely have had selected what do they call it? Selective. What do they call it?
I don't know, breeding.
Oh, Joe, help, Joe. Yeah, maybe it is selective breeding. That might be exactly.
Well, selective breeding is what we have been doing as our GMOs since agriculture. It's only been recently when we've gotten a hold of microscopes and the CRISPR and all that we've been able to physically get in there and like alter it to its base levels, its foundational levels.
Yeah, no, I mean like these issues have always been present, like when we've been around, but the idea is that there's nothing. We're unprecedented. Like there's nothing like this. Like we're the scale that we operate.
Yeah. No, I mean no society has ever had this amount of science before.
Correct, and the impact of biodiversity has been relatively negligible for most of human society existence, except for the last modern society. Mm-hmm. But now, at least it's a good thing that we're having this conversation, that we even care to even think about what we're doing, you know?
Yeah.
We've always like just chosen the better plants that we've liked. We've never had any direct manipulation in DNA, and now we do. And so you could say we've been haphazardly manipulating DNA from afar, but now we're, up close.
Yeah.
And so
in it.
yeah, all I'm saying is that there are unknown consequences to be had from it. That's it. Either good or bad, but unforeseen consequences may exist and unforeseen benefits may exist, and we definitely have benefits that do exist. That's why we have GMOs to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
The immediate benefits seem to have been nice.
Tasty apples.
Yeah, I mean, like, industrial food is freaking awesome. I mean, we eat like kings every day.
Yeah. I don't know, eating healthy is pretty easy. Like the whole, like if you buy things that are like whole foods and not necessarily prepared, they're pretty, for the most part, they're pretty cheap.
Yeah, I like buying meat because I have a meat grinder now, and so I just like buying large chunks of meat, cutting that up into smaller pieces, and then grinding it myself because it's just cheaper that way, and I get steaks out of it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Should the internet be human right?
Yes.
Everyone should be granted the internet.
Everyone should at least have access to internet. Because I mean,
Yeah.
if you're to grant everyone internet, I think you have to turn everyone into hotspots or something for that. But everyone should have at least the basic access to internet should be included in homes, just like water is. It's just you have internet you're connected to. If you want faster internet or better internet, then you got to pay for it.
It's kind of silly how that we haven't. It hasn't jumped into the utility field yet. It will.
No, it did. It did for a little bit. It was in there for like 2 years, and then the dude who runs Verizon, who's also the lead dude on the FCC board, he took it out. He pushed forward a bill to remove it from the utility.
No. We need to ration this.
Yeah. He's like, oh no, we can't have it as a utility. No, we can still make money here. It's like, no, you fucker. It's a utility at this point. It's necessary for our society if you want to be successful in it.
Yeah, I wish I was inspired by the leading internet providing companies, but I don't know. The connotation they leave me is just with like, ugh. Like, I don't think I've been excited about a single one, but the internet is such a majestic thing. It's just being provided by assholes.
Dude,
Yeah.
we should become our own cable company, bro.
You want to meet an assassin personally? All right.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Google's doing it, man.
Yeah, Google has fuck tons of. That's the other part too, is that there's such a monopoly on it that even getting access to the cable lines, you have to go through an ISP because they own the cable lines too.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, build them all your own.
Just start digging trenches.
Dig your own trenches, lay your own fiber optic cables. Do it. And then, but the problem is plugging into the big cable, the big one across the ocean. That's the one.
Oh yeah, those underlying cables.
Yeah, that's getting access to that would be the kicker.
Yeah.
Wait, is there what cable are you guys referencing?
There's giant cables connecting pretty much all the continents via internet.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like 10 foot wide or something like that. They're fucking huge.
And they go across the ocean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They go under the water. They're along the ocean floor.
That's how you communicate with people across the world on the internet, man.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That's why, I think it was some country.
Wait,
I think it was
hold
actually
on, Vicktor.
some part of.
Hold on. I want to hear Joe explain to us how he thought it worked before he knew they were cables under the ocean. Joe?
All right, so the wonderful thing is I didn't really assume anything. Like, I'm not surprised.
The internet just worked, and you just accepted it.
But I had never Yeah, just like the internet works. Like I guess I assumed it was just transmitting through the air. But it's
yeah, I mean, sure, some probably is, but yeah.
By the same magic, Wi-Fi happens. It's the same magic. Some level fucking 7 arcane wizard is doing it, dude.
Yeah, there's a theory that, like, and it's not even, I don't even think it's a theory. It's possible that we could just beam internet to Earth via satellite, via the way of HDTV. Because think about it, if you have an antenna, you can get TV fucking anywhere, right? As long if you have, say you're out in the middle of the Sahara and you have internet and you have an antenna, you could get TV, you could get a channel because it's being beamed from satellite. And the idea is you just do that with internet.
Well, you do it with Wi-Fi. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing the same thing. They're manipulating the magnetic field at a specific frequency, and then it vibrates your receiver, and then your computer decodes it. That's how your Wi-Fi works. That's how your radio works.
Yeah, sorry, just bringing it back. That's how I think people would have access to internet everywhere. The easiest way to make it a utility is satellite beaming versus the underwater line cables that we have now.
Humans are crazy things, dude. They've done so many crazy things.
Like, I know that Vicktor knows how the internet works. Do you know how the internet works, Joe?
I don't claim to know anything.
Well, if you could explain it to a child, what would you explain? Explain how the internet works to me.
How the internet works?
Yeah. How do I get on Facebook?
How do you get on Facebook? I guess any story I would tell would probably focus more on the applications of the internet and less of pretending that I knew how it happened. Like, I don't think I have a story to tell on how it happens. It's magic.
It's magic.
So I just threw up a map of all the internet cables that are laid underwater.
That's wild, yeah.
But the reason why, you're talking to me right now is because there's a series of cables that are connected from, my modem to your modem.
Right. And I guess what prevents... I know, Wi-Fi is relatively, new, but, when I'm on my phone, there isn't a wire connecting it. And so whatever magic produces that was the same assumption I was probably applying to how the internet works.
That's fair.
So, from what I understand, it's the same thing. It's like your phone uses signals that are manipulations of the electromagnetic field that towers pick up, and then they give you the information you're asking for from the nearest server that has the pertinent information, and they send it to you.
And then so why not just replace all of those underwater wires with just towers every several miles, whatever the radius.
Those towers are connected to wires.
Yeah, but you just make towers across the ocean, and then once you get to land, it's all wire again. Why do you need the wires across the ocean? Is
shifting seafloors.
Is what?
Shifting seafloors, rot, erosion from both the seafloor and from the metal or whatever you want to make the towers out of.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
That's why the cables.
But the cables have to be connected to the servers at some point in time. You see.
And so when it comes to the cables too, when it comes to repair, if they can identify which section is broken or damaged or been bitten by sharks or whatever, then they go cut out that section, boom, patch in a new section of cable, easy and done. Yeah.
So your phone only uses a satellite if you have a satellite phone.
Yeah.
What's a satellite phone? How do you know if your phone's a satellite phone?
You have to go buy one.
Yeah, a satellite phone is something you go find, and it doesn't connect to towers. It connects via satellites.
And it's not your average iPhone?
Correct.
Gotcha.
It basically, a satellite phone will never lose service unless you're 10 miles down in a cave with lead coverings.
And there happens to not be a satellite over it.
It sounds like the magic produced by Wi-Fi is in my current ignorant understanding, it's still a viable replacement for wires. Just the ocean presents a unique challenge.
Kind of. That's where Wi-Fi itself, in how Wi-Fi does the thing that it makes it Wi-Fi in manipulating signals, is very susceptible to drywall. Even it's not really good for long-term signal transfer because many other signals and many other things get in its way very easily, even to the point of daylight gets in the way of Wi-Fi. I don't know if you've ever tested it, but usually Wi-Fi will be better at night because you don't have the sun's rays.
So if you're using Wi-Fi, then you still want what's providing Wi-Fi to be somewhat close to the hardwired hookup.
Yeah, the thing that's providing Wi-Fi is connected via a landline cable, unless you have like satellite internet, but it still has to be connected in that sort of way.
Yeah. I probably would have also assumed that satellites were doing it before wires across the ocean too.
No, yeah, I mean, it makes the most sense, but we're not, and I don't know why. I don't have a good reason as to why that's not the way it's being done.
So we can make colored maps like this.
Do what?
So we can make colored maps like the one you shared.
Yeah, you just highlight all the areas that are getting internet beamed directly to them. Ooh, this would be Okay, I thought of it. All right, so we beam internet via satellite on the planet. Everyone has access. You can connect to that internet. It's not very fast. It's not very great. But if you want access to the landline connections, you got to pay. But then that would require governments to set up satellites and such, or Elon Musk to set up satellites up in space that can do that.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like how. So, the issue is that everyone who has satellite cable also has a dish on their fucking rooftop.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's just what we kind of regressed back to. We would see a lot more. I don't know if it's a regression, honestly, just because it's something I'm used to seeing 10 years ago.
So I'm trying to get things to look as close to Fallout as I can before the end of the world.
But like, if we could, conceivably do that, that's what things would look like. You would have, like, Facebook would have its own dishes that it would have beaming out, so to make all their information accessible through satellite.
Yeah. Or they would have to be connected to a government infrastructure tower that can, beam 10,000 gigs a second or something like that. They would either need their own satellites or connected into a satellite that can take care of their load as well.
It's so trippy that, like, it's all light that's doing this.
Yeah.
It's just we're using light to that's what Wi-Fi is. It's just beaming invisible light, invisible, non-perceptible.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's all magic to me, dude. I'm telling you, it's magic. I'm not gonna pretend I know.